Hi friends! I am so excited you're here because I'm going to be talking about all the books I read in May. As you guys know, in May I was a game master for the Black Cat Carnival for Escape the Readathon, which is hosted by the lovely Lexi from Books with Lexi, and thank you so much for asking me to be a game master for Escape. And you know, we might not have escaped as game masters, but I did read 20 books, which I felt like was pretty good for how busy I was, because I was literally scheduled down to probably a couple of free hours in May. Like I had all my time scheduled out, and remind me never to do that again because it was very exhausting, and I won't be doing that again. But I'm here to give you kind of a rapid fire wrap up. I'm not going to go into too much detail with a lot of these books because a lot of them were thrillers. I feel like you don't need a lot of detail with thrillers. So getting right into it, my DNF of the month was Night Film by Marisha Pezel. As you can see, I made a good chunk in, but this is like 2 months worth of reading. I made it to page 218 and I was just so bored. And I looked up reviews of this and they weren't super stunning reviews, so I kind of gave up. I was reading it physically and yeah, oh well, I give up on that. I did end up reading like a ton of thrillers, so I'm just going to talk about those very quickly to start out the month because I wanted to kind of just get through a lot of stuff. I read a couple of Sherry Lapina books. Oh gosh, I think I read like 2 or 3 of her books, and maybe only 2. I read Everyone Here Is Lying, and I believe I gave this one 3 stars, and then I read, oh yeah, I have that one. Oh, I read 3 Lapina books. Do I even know how many thriller books I read? Stranger in the House. I believe I remember this premise. Oh geez, this is what it says. Okay, I feel like her titles too, it happens in the book, okay? But as I said in my vlog, I feel like I did one vlog this month. Her books are very formulaic. They usually open up with a murder, and then stuff starts unraveling. They're domestic thrillers, and you know what? I think most of these are just 3 stars for me. They're pretty dark. I like them. They're easy to get out of a rut when, you know, you're struggling. Just listen to one of her books on Libby. You'll be good. And then I read The Other People by CJ Tudor. This is actually really dark and pretty gritty for CJ Tudor. I feel like this author's books I read previously, like The Burning Girls and is it The Lighthouse Wishes? I felt a little bit more, I don't want to say whimsical, but like a little bit more playful. This one's just kind of gritty mystery about a dad looking for his daughter, and I gave it 3 stars. I read One of Us Knows by Alyssa Cole. This one I ended up giving, I think, 3.5 stars or 4 stars. This one, I was a bit confused. I'm not gonna lie, I was a bit confused at the beginning of it, and then I still had questions, I think, afterwards, but I really liked the main character in this, and there's a scene in it where I was literally like, yes, yay, rooting for you, so I was into it. Then I read First Lie Wins by Ashley Elston, and I think I'm giving this one like 2 stars. This is like espionage, but they caught feelings. And then I read Never Saw Me Coming by Vera Korean. This one started out pretty interesting. It's like told from the point of view of like a psychopath who's in this group of other psychopaths in college, and yeah, it just it was kind of boring, and other stuff started happening in it, and I was like, wait, I thought this was a revenge book. Why? It just took a different route than I thought. So I think I'm giving this one 2.5 as well. Then I read a really refreshing thriller, and that was Kill for Me, Kill for You by Steve Kavanaugh. I listened to this one in like a day, and for how busy I was like so happy to be really hooked into this one. This is like the murders on the train scenario, yes, and it is referenced in this, but I thought this one was just so fun, and it really kept me guessing in it, and where I was like, okay, I know this is gonna happen, and then something else would happen that I didn't know would happen, you know what I mean? Like, it just kept you on the edge of your seat. So I think I'm giving this one like 4.5 stars. I'll rate it, or I'll round up to 5 on Goodreads, because it was like very refreshing and fun, and I just wanted to know, and that's always good in a thriller, when you're just like, I guess I'll just finish it to finish it. I wanted to know with this one. Then I read None Shall Sleep by Ellie Marney. This is like a YA thriller. I would say it's a thriller, yeah. It takes place in the 80s. I read this for my Ouija game because of blood on the cover, and we follow 2 teenage FBI agents who are basically doing what Clarice Starling did in Silence of the Lambs, is interview serial killers to get information to find another serial killer. A lot of this was very unbelievable and very Silence of the Lambs-esque, and it's very long. But I mean, it was a good audiobook, I guess, so I'll give it 3 stars. Okay, so those were all the thrillers I ended up reading in May. And then I read Black Tide by Casey Jones. I've had this one forever in my audio library, actually, from Audible. I don't know when I got it, but I had it in there, so I finally listened to it. This was interesting because I actually didn't really like it when I first read it, or when after I finished it. I think in my blog I was like, I think this is 2 stars, because honestly a lot of it didn't make a lot of sense, and I'm also a very image person as I read. I read kind of like a movie in my head, and I couldn't really picture anything except for something very goofy, and without giving too much away about what this is. And yeah, but then I kept thinking about it after the fact, and I don't know, I think it just like, I kept thinking about it, and I don't know why I kept thinking about it. It was because it annoyed me still, but you know, it's still there, the story. I will say the romance stuff in this, not for me, but I think I am giving it 3 stars, or like a 2.5, round up to 3 on Goodreads. I think it's a good beach horror if you're into like really cosmic stuff happening, and the imagery being a little bit blurry on it. Asylum by Madeline Rue. This is a middle grade, is it middle grade? Yes. Middle grade or YA, it's one of those books about kids that go to a summer camp at like a haunted asylum. It's not summer camp, it's like their high school or something. And yeah, I had a lot of fun with this. There's a lot of mystery in it, and I really enjoyed that. I think I'm giving it 4 stars because, I don't know, I just, not that I related to this, I did go to like a summer camp in Gettysburg College and had to stay in the old dorms, and that were insanely haunted. It was like it was like the last summer before they actually tore those down, and I don't know, I kept thinking about that experience, and I was like, I totally forgot that happened like in my life. And yeah, the atmosphere was great, and I would read the second one in this series, so I'm giving this one 4 stars. I read Zombie Bake Off by Stephen Graham Jones. I had a lot of fun with this one. I will say I was a bit confused during it, because there is a wrestler in this that is named Zombie, and then there was the zombie breakout because of donuts, because it was at the bake off. I don't know, I just got like a little confused listening to the audiobook for this one, but overall it was a good time. You could tell Stephen Graham Jones wrote this as a joke. Even though it might have been a joke for himself, you could tell he had a lot of fun with it, and you know, that's why we're all here, right? So I'm giving it 3.5 stars. I'll probably round up to 4 on Goodreads. That's this whole wrap up. I'm gonna round up. And then I read The Black Girl Survives this one. This is an anthology of short stories about the Black Girl surviving this one. I really liked the last story in this, and then the story with the theater. I think it's like Put the Lights On or something. I really liked those 2, but the other ones, I don't know. think I was zoning out during a lot of the other ones. But yeah, I love a good theater ghost story. So that one definitely was my favorite, and I'm giving this collection 4 stars. And I read Little Miss Apocalypse by Danger Slater. Sounds like a band name. This is a little novella. It's bizarro horror about a woman who might have been experimented on while she was pregnant, and this is the result, okay? And she's going through puberty right now, and things are a little bit unpredictable. This was pretty fun, but I don't know, I didn't really connect with anything in this. The humor was pretty funny in it, but other than that, I think it was just okay. But it is a short little read, and bizarro horror is always very fun, typically. So I think I'm giving this one 3 stars. Then I read The Abyss by Jer Cunningham with Kelsey and Andrew, and it was hard. This book was hard to get through. It's on my 24 and 24. It was very boring, and I feel like the ending was good. It did have quite a bit of payoff for me, but getting there was hell, literal hell. You know what? I think I got this book. I think I get it now. But yeah, I'm giving this one 2.5 stars because it was just a lot of nothing. But the ending, it was very cool, but a lot of nothing to get to there. The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo, and I think this one is my biggest surprise this month of how much I really did like it, because Hellbent did not work for me for some reason. I thought, oh, I'm out of my fantasy era. That's why it didn't work for me. But The Familiar has a fantasy in it, and I actually really liked it. This takes place during the Spanish Inquisition, and there is a woman who can do magic, and I don't want to get into a lot of detail, but it does go full Spanish Inquisition in this, and I wasn't really expecting that. So that's what made me like it even more. I think when we got to those chapters of the torture and stuff happening, I was like, oh my god. Okay, I wasn't expecting it, but I really liked it. There is a romance in this that I did not care for at all, but you know, what else is new? I don't really care about that. But yeah, overall, the atmosphere, the vibes, I just really liked it. I just liked that. Yeah. I don't know, 4 stars. I read Event Horizon, the novelization. I listened to this on the Slash Tracks YouTube channel. I'll link them down below. They're really cool. They do like audiobook, their own little audiobooks. They'll read rare novelizations or like the Jason books and stuff. But yeah, I listened to this one at work when I was slow, and it was so good. It was so cheesy because it is a novelization, but like the way it's like, I don't know, it's just over the top, and I really enjoyed it. I like this movie a lot too, just for the cheese factor in it. And yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. I think I'm giving it 4 stars because it was just a blast. I read Gila by Les Simmons. This was actually my book club pick for April, which I totally did not read it in April. Obviously, I'm talking about it now. This is a little novella, paperback from hell, and I don't think this aged well at all. It reads like it was written in the 80s, which is sad. And there's a romance in this too that I did not care about. Literally, these people keep having relations. And they're just like, let's do it. There's a giant lizard on the loose, but hey, like, let's just keep doing it. We're the only 2 people in this town that can figure this out. But hey, you know what? I think we should have sex. And I was just like, giant lizards? Okay. Romance? Okay, I guess. There is a really cool scene of a carnival getting demolished. But there is a lot of little cuts to people just being killed, where I was like, okay, what's next? What's next? And then we go back to the 2 characters that are just like, hey, your shirt's off. Oh, let's go. Giant lizards in your town. Okay. So I think I ended up giving this one like 2 stars, maybe 1 star. I don't know. It was really bad for my 24 and 24 in May. My 2 picks weren't good. Cuckoo by Gretchen Flecker Martin. I had an arc of this. This comes out, I think it is out. By the time this video is out, it will already be published. This was about a conversion camp where the kids come back different, and by different I mean like a monster. I really liked this one. It is really gnarly, and like I was bummed out to a point where I didn't want to go pick it up because I was just like, I was so bummed out. But that just meant that this author did great character work in this. I was actually feeling the characters, because at first I was like, okay, there's too many characters, and then you get to know them, and then stuff happens, and it was devastating. This is a devastating, dark book, very visceral. It's tragic. The villains in this are absolutely horrible, and then you have like a whole other horror to deal with. So yeah, it was it's a bummer of a book, but I feel like the payoff was so good because there is hope in it, which I love seeing now. For some reason I'm like, I'm not the complete nihilist that I thought I was. There's awesome body horror in this, and yeah, I just loved it. I really did. Thinking about it, reflecting back, it's been a while since I finished it, and I'm like, I really did enjoy this one, even though it did put me through the ringer emotionally. So good. So good. It's very nuanced, but also gross at the same time, if that makes sense. So I definitely give this one 5 stars. One of my favorite reads this month, along with The Day of the Door, which I did talk about quite a bit in one of my only vlog I got out in May, by Laurel Hightower. This story about like a reality ghost hunting show interviewing a family about the loss of their sibling. That might have been supernatural in quotes, and like trying to figure out what happened. There's so much to this book, but it is very short. But yeah, there's a lot to this book, and it has a lot of different levels of horror, like emotional horror, there's supernatural horror in it. There's even like, I would say there's jump scares in it. Laurel Hightower's really good at a jump scare, to where I was reading this in bed in the dark, and I got scared. So yeah, 5 stars. These were my favorite reads this month. I feel like I had a very hit or miss month, but it ended on a high note with Cuckoo, and yeah, I love Day of the Door. I'm trying to look through and make sure I got everything. I'm kind of rushing this wrap up, but I believe I did. So yeah, top reads were these 2. If I can put them here. Fantastic. Definitely check them out. Definitely stuff you've never read before. And yeah, it was a good reading month. That ending my month on a high note with some really good books that I read. And that is it for this wrap up. What did you guys read in May? I feel like May was forever ago, but also I feel like it was super long. But yeah, leave your favorites in the comments down below, and I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Bye!